When we know our life is serving a purpose, whatever that purpose might be, what purposes do life serve? Let's just get some input. What purpose does your life serve? Anybody? You don't have goals and purposes in your life that you can name in front of us? Maybe that's too tough a question. To make somebody happy. Okay, that's having a sense of purpose. Somebody other than yourself, making somebody else happy. That is a purpose. When you have that kind of purpose in your life, that's an inner circumstance. That's an inner attitude. It's a perspective of your mind, which takes your thinking away from yourself and what you need to make yourself happy, your outer circumstances. Being responsible. Okay. Learning that there are consequences that come along with your actions. When you do that, you've grown up in the world. That's something that we all need to teach our kids. And I still remember when our kids learned that lesson finally, and they became adults. I still know some adults who haven't learned that there's some consequences that come with their actions. Having a sense of purpose. Serving a mission. Being involved as a session member in the life of the congregation, or a deacon, or on a committee. Having a sense of purpose. Doing something for organizations that are larger than yourselves. When you have a sense of purpose, you're not so taken in by the discontent that our culture provides. When you have a sense of connection, when you realize you're a part of a family, you're a part of a church family, when you have connections with people at work, and you're not isolated by yourself, you are less likely to be sucked in by the discontent of the culture around us. When you have a sense of abundance, when you can realize God has given you all you might need to flourish, then you've broken the cycle of discontent conditioned by our culture. When you realize, this goes along with a sense of purpose, when you're contributing to the lives of people in your family or people at work, or you're contributing in some way to help change the world and make it a better place to live, then you have a greater likelihood that you're not going to be sucked in by the conditioned discontent of our world. All of those things are inner attitudes, they're inner circumstances that we can change, that we can be in control of. And when those things are a part of our lives, we've broken the cycle of conditioned discontent of our culture. We're living more along the lines of what our faith story tells us. Okay, that's number one. We need to break that cycle right at the start. And then we need to learn to give thanks in all things. Contentment comes in recognizing the gift-like quality of our everyday living. The gift-like quality of our everyday living. What gifts do you receive in your everyday living? Anybody just name a few? Sunshine. Okay. Is that rain? Okay. Encouragement.
The love of my wife.
The love of your wife, or your husband, or your kids, your parents, your grandparents, all of those things. Excellent. When we think more on those things, it produces in us more gratitude and thankfulness than discontent and dissatisfaction. When you realize that each moment of every day comes to you as a gift. Yeah, some of those things may not be exactly what you want, but they come in a way that it's a gift, and God also then gives us the strength to be able to handle it. That may be the gift that comes from the nasty things that come across us in life, the gift of realization that God is there with us. Give thanks in all things. That's what Paul learned, and that helped him overcome his dissatisfaction with his life. Let me suggest a practice that will help you learn to give thanks in all things. Find a journal. You might just start out with pieces of paper, but if some of you may already have a journal that you use or a diary, pick up a book, spend some time each night before you go to sleep, and say, in what ways was I blessed today? What gifts did I receive from God, from people, from circumstances? What did I learn today that will help me become more grateful, more thankful? How can I learn to give thanks in all things? Use that journal to record. And I think you'll learn to be more content. Break the cycle of conditioned discontent. Give thanks in all things. And realize God has provided all we need to flourish. Contentment results from being aware that God has already provided us with everything we need to flourish. We talked about with the kids, family, friendship, food, faith, life itself, the dawn of this absolutely marvelous day is sufficient for what we need to live. God has provided us all we need to flourish. And something that might help us learn that is spending time living below our means. Have any of you ever tried to do that? To simplify your life in such a way that you're learning to live below your means? It's not easy to do. It really isn't easy to do, but it provides a path to greater peace. Learning to put a cap on our lifestyles keeps us from living in houses we can't afford and driving cars whose payments overstress us. Realize God has given us all we need to flourish, and we can help learn that by living below our means. And asking the question more often in our lives, how much is enough? Asking that question makes us clearer. Actually, answering that question makes us clearer about what we really need in contrast to what we want and what our culture says we need. Learn to be happy with what we have rather than feeling distressed by what we lack is what we learn when we realize God has given us everything we need in order to flourish. Okay, the fourth concept, the fourth lesson we need to learn is I think we need to develop some anti-consumerist practices. Let me explain what I mean by that. Contentment comes from us working very hard, persistently in our inner lives. Contentment comes from persistent internal work and cooperating with the Holy Spirit to develop some personal habits and practices that keep us from surrendering to our consumerist tendencies.